Hi everyone, Matt Waldron here from Level Next Leadership. Doing a short book summary today called The Way of the Shepherd, written by Dr. Kevin Leman and William Pentak. It's based around the ancient art of shepherding and using that as an analogy to construct some principles for outstanding leadership. Hope you enjoy it. I think this is a great analogy for empowering leadership. Please do not unpack this analogy too much because it may come across a little bit condescending, and that's not what it's meant to do. You'll get a lot out of this session if you just put aside anything like that and understand that the analogy here is about a leader who really cares about their staff and really wants to empower them and wants them to have a great experience throughout the week and throughout the year and throughout the years of being a part of this a project or a company or an organization. So the leader knows how to lead. They know how to lead the individual person. They also know how to lead the group of people to new pastures, new things. The staff know the leader's got their back, that the leader is there to protect them, not there to throw them under the bus, not there to put the blame on them and use them as a scapegoat, but is there to protect them. The leader's there to help them improve. And this is really about helping your people to solve problems. You can see there, people can groom themselves and look after themselves to a level, but to be sheared, there needs to be help there. So we often need to partner with our people to help them solve their problems, but not overstep the mark and solve problems that they can solve themselves. We want to feed them. We want to offer training, suggestions, advice, conversations that are empowering. We want to empower them and help them. We want to make sure that they're feeling refreshed throughout the week in the workplace. Think about, your staff and being near a watering hole and making sure your staff are having lunch breaks and going home on time and having appropriate leave. Look after them. Make sure they're doing that. Help them. Speak into their lives about that stuff. Delivering new lands, new ideas, new projects, new thoughts. May it be a space where your staff can come to you and say, I've got this idea, I've got this thought, and you actually help them deliver that and bring it into fruition and become something great for the organization. And of course, you've got the people who wander away from the team and what the organization is doing. And as a leader, you go after them and find out what's going on and what's happening for them. And sometimes you can win them back to the team and win them back to what you're doing. Other times you need to help them transition to something new. Know the condition of the team is the first point that's made in the book. Follow the status of your people as well as the status of their work. It's really a funny phase that we went through in the workplace where we would kind of ask people to leave their personal lives behind. And that actually creates trauma. When we're asking people to break rapport with themselves and become sort of two different people, we're asking people to sort of behave professionally in the workplace like an actor. And it's just not the way life really works. We're one person and we do express ourselves differently in the professional space, and we do require that as leaders of our staff. But we're not asking people to leave behind their personal lives. So as a leader, it's really important that you're on the pulse of your people's professional work, but you have some sense of what's going on in their personal lives in an appropriate way too, so that you know the kind of whole person and how to be helpful. You get to know your people. This is really important. Whenever I start a new role as a leader, I take every staff member out for lunch and find out who they are and what's going on for them. And then I'll put in place a 6-weekly process where they get one-on-one access to me, as well as the regular sort of weekly meetings and things like that. We've got to keep our eyes and ears open out as leaders. We've got to pay attention. You can't fake this stuff. You either really care about people and you're looking and you're observing and you're asking questions, or you're not. So providing a wonderful condition within the team is the first point. I really like this idea, discover the shape of your people. Your choice of staff can make the team management easier or harder. And a lot of times we don't have a choice, right? As leaders, as managers, we don't have a choice. We inherit a team. And so it's really important to get to know your team individually, as we mentioned before. And what I've always done, and what the book suggests, is to start with the healthy team members first. So what that means is we're looking at the staff members first who have got a great attitude, who are leaning in, who enjoy their jobs, because usually what that means is that they're actually in the right place in their role. You see, people's behavior, there's a person behind people's behavior. There always is. And a good leader understands that and wants to go to the root cause of the problem rather than try to behavioral manage. Behavioral management does not work. We want to get to people's beliefs and values and how they're feeling about themselves, their self-esteem, all those sorts of things. And a lot of times staff are actually in the wrong place. They're actually showing up in a space that they're not playing to their strengths, and they're frustrated and they're clunky. And of course that shows up in poor behavior. So we don't want to just assume that people are problems or whatever. I've heard that so much. It's really unfair. As a leader, you need to show up as an adult. You need to understand that you're the central influencer in this team and in these people in this workplace, and you have a great opportunity to be a gift to them and help people to fit into the right places so that the whole team as a whole can function well and produce the results that it's meant to. The SHAPE is obviously an acronym. The first S stands for strength. And what we need to be doing is we need to make sure that we position our staff in a place where they play at least at 70% of their strengths is great. 5% to weaknesses, that develops character and attitude and those things. And then 25% or somewhere around about this kind of equation, so that they're doing new things, they're growing as a person. And talented people, want to be growing. That's the way it is. And so the second thing stands for H, which is the heart. What are they passionate about? What drives them? What motivates them? What motivates them to action? You need to know what are some of those things. Their attitude. This is a really important one. Whenever I recruit people based upon their attitude first, and secondly, their skills, knowledge, experience, etc. Because, you can't really teach attitude in a workplace very well. That is a lifelong formation thing. I have 3 sons, and I tell you, I've had the opportunity to develop their attitude, and it takes a lot of consistent input. It takes a lot of personal role modeling from me and my wife. And I tell you, I don't believe as a leader in my leadership role that I am responsible for another person's attitude. They are, as an adult staff member, 100% responsible for their attitude. If they can't do that, then you need to send them on an emotional intelligence course and actually help them to get their attitude in check. Personality, really important to understand that. Lots of psychometric testing out there that can really help with you understanding that as a leader and getting in the ballpark of what sort of might light certain people up. Experiences. Each person is a product of their experiences and choices. So it's important to know as they come into the workplace or as you may be reforming the team to understand what are some of the experiences and choices that this person is coming into this workplace with. It's important to have that context. So what I do is, just as a practical exercise, when I first meet with my staff, I send them through a little worksheet with these 5 elements and get them to think about this before my very first meeting with them. But you can really do this anytime. It's just a great exercise to do anytime to help people go to the next level and build better rapport. And at the end of this session, you can email me and I'll send you a PDF version of this document, which has got this little exercise included. Help your people identify with you, build trust with people, role model, be real, be honest, smoke what you sell. You cannot expect another thing from one of your staff members that you personally are not role modeling and doing yourself. And if you stuff it up, you just got to apologize. Set high standards for performance. And again, it sort of links in with the first one. If your standards of performance are very low, then you can't expect that from your team, And for me, I think about pursuing excellence, not perfection. I think a lot about progress rather than right or wrong, pass, fail, that sort of thing. I get people in a process and say we're building, we're growing, we're doing things, we're moving forward. It's that kind of, growth mindset as opposed to a pass-fail mindset. Communicating your values and sense of mission all the time, keeping people on the pulse of why we're doing this. Define the cause of your people and tell them where they fit. Now, this is really, really important for people to understand how important they are. I know a lot of leaders who will constantly threaten staff that they're replaceable. This is a really, really bad thing to do. Like the human body, I think it's an amazing analogy. The human body has complex systems inside of it where they're irreplaceable. Like when you lose a kidney or when you lose a part of your liver or whatever, you lose an eye or whatever, these things are really important. Even with some of the parts of the body that may not seem like that important, like losing a few toes on your left foot, will make the whole person very unstable and their center of gravity will not be very good. So people, you've got to communicate to people that they're not replaceable, that when they leave, there is a big hole there and things will never be the same. That's a really, really important message, I believe. Remember that great leadership is not just professional, it has a personal touch to it as well. Man, be warm, be personal, be real, be honest, just be a real person. And hold yourself to those high standards, smoke what you sell, and role model, role model, role model. Make the business vibe a safe place. Keep your people well informed. The importance of communication is so, so important. We've already discussed about infusing that point and making it really important to people that they are irreplaceable, that they matter, that what they're doing is important work. You've got to deal with negativity. People in the team who are negative, you have to put in place some disciplinary measures. You have to put in place some honest conversations around that person's behavior. We obviously accept the person, and as said before, we want to drill down to the why, the values, what's going on in this person's personal life, or what's going on in this person's professional life that's frustrating them or annoying them, that they're showing up with bad behavior. No one wakes up in the morning and decides to be a poisonous person. There's stuff going on, and as a leader with that nice touch, you've got to find out what is going on under the hood with that person and help them move forward. But at the end of the day, if they're not prepared to move forward, if their attitude is not in the right place, you do have to make some decisions as a leader to move them on and get them out of the team. Regularly rotate your staff to fresh opportunities. You want to give people an opportunity to go to greener pastures. Obviously, it's a high quality conversation with them first. You're not pushing them into it. There's discussion, there's conversation, there's agreement. There's got to be agreements with this stuff. Some people love where they are, and you don't want to remove someone out of where they are and push them into in inverted commas, green pasture when it's not really what they want. That'll be a demotivating thing for sure. Reassure people by being visible. I know a lot of leaders, I've been under leaders in the past who just, you never see them. They're away all the time, they're in the office, whatever. I make sure that in my roles that I'm visible, I'm accessible. It's not just a corny, I have an open door policy. That's not it. I have more than an open door policy. I have I'll come to your workstation policy. I will seek you out policy. I'll shout you a coffee policy. I actually go to my people and role model what the kind of relationship dynamic that I want in the team. Do not give problems time to fester. You've got to nip stuff in the bud as a leader. You need to get a hold of team problems and workplace problems. Identify what is really going on, making sure you're solving the right problem. Begin to nip it in the bud and then reframe it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and move forward. Because remember, we're not about pass, fail, right and wrong and all that. As a group of people, we're going to make mistakes. People with the best of intentions are going to not deliver well. All these things happen all the time. So, we want to make the place a safe place so that people can be honest and real and be entrepreneurial and have a go at things, because they know that it's not a critical environment. It's not a judgmental environment. It's a life-giving environment. Staff direction, this is a really important one for you as a leader to know where you're going. For me, depending upon the role I'm in, I will have at least a 12-month plan going ahead and reverse engineer that so that I know kind of where we're going. And then what I do is I fit in all the systems around that. So what I mean by that is the one-on-one meetings with my staff, the staff meetings, all of it is done in a context. It's all done with a sense of purpose. I never want my staff going out of a meeting scratching their head going, why are we doing this and what's the point? You want to use those staff meetings really well to generate inspiration and conversation and realness. So it all needs to connect. When we direct, we use persuasion, not coercion. We are excited about what we're doing and we're going forward. We give people freedom to interpret and express themselves and use their talents, but we do have some boundaries around our team and around our programs or around what we're doing, and those boundaries are healthy. I mean, if you look at planet Earth, it has an atmosphere around it. It's a boundary. If you go right down to a human cell, it has a semi-membral membrane around it to protect the actual life of the cell. And so the whole concept of boundaries, our skin is a boundary on our body. These boundaries are for health and for protecting the life. And so people need to understand that. I do have another session on personal and professional boundaries. If you're interested, have a look at that, if that's engaging for you. When your people get into trouble and when they fail, get them out of trouble. Help them to learn everything they can from the failure, the set down. Maybe they need to develop some skills. Maybe they didn't have enough knowledge. Maybe they need a bit of coaching from you, a bit of encouragement. Maybe their confidence is a bit low. Maybe they need a couple of other people to help them with the project. Get everything out of the setback or the failure. There's feedback there, there's learning there, there's life lessons. I have a little saying about pain. Pain is the master teacher. The quicker you learn, the quicker it moves on to the next student. So learn from the pain. The rod of correction, this is a good one. This is not always the easiest thing to do, particularly when your staff in front of you or behind your back are doing this. They can have a smiling face, but really they're giving you the bird. This is a real test of leadership, this one. And to do this well, takes time. It takes quite a few years, I've found, as a leader, to do this one well. It's so easy to be reactive as a leader and just kind of correct people in the wrong way, where we remove the safe environment and sort of expose people and highlight people rather than protecting them, correcting them, and being preventative in terms of inspecting what's happening. So the protection part of it is about, I say to my staff, I'll never throw you under the bus. And whilst that is true, I do want my staff to take responsibility for the things that as adults they have done or not done. So we stand in the gap, and I've done this lots of times. I've protected a staff member from a more senior leader, and I've said, give me a chance to talk with this person. This is out of character for them. This is not normally what they're like. There's obviously a gap, might be a gap in their training or whatever. And so even though we're using strong words like protect, correct, and inspect, we're really spinning it into a life-giving approach where we're helping people, again, to look under the hood and coaching people as a leader and, mentoring for them and helping them to look at what's going on, that they're needing this correction, that they're needing a course correction or an attitude correction, or maybe it's a skills correction, maybe it's a knowledge correction. So we send them on a training course. We just don't want to have that pass-fail environment there. We want to build competency in our people. And like I've said before, our behavior is at the end of the production line. There's something going on. There's a person before the behavior. There's something going on under the hood here. One of the last things I'll say about this is, we're checking in with our people, and being a preventative leader rather than a reactive leader is really, really important. If you can prevent 80% of things happening before they happen, you win in the game. The heart of the shepherd. Great leadership is a lifestyle and an embodiment more than it's a technique. There are techniques, there are strategies, there are skills, and there's a competency you have to learn as a leader for sure. You know, a person is a leader, therefore they lead. You know, I believe the term leadership is reserved for those who have the right heart, not just the right techniques. Most of all, you know, you need to have that heart of passion for your staff. You need to really give a rip about your people. You need to give a rip about your clients. It's genuine. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's real. You have a real care. Leaders have that heart that they want to nurture people, grow people, challenge people, discipline people sometimes. They want to lead them to green pastures. If you just think about the analogy here of the shepherd, you know, they are taking care of the flock of sheep that they have. They will go and fight a wolf if it comes to attack. And so, you know, this guy here, great leader, great role model. And every day you must decide who is going to pay for your leadership, you or your people. That is a profound statement to just pause upon. Who is paying for your leadership? Are your people, you know, under your leadership or surrounded by your influence? Are they struggling? Are they feeling like their life sucks and their work sucks? Well, as a leader, you have a profound opportunity to influence often people's lives throughout their day. Everyone has to come to work. Everyone has to do some sort of work that translates into currency. Make sure you're a leader who's a gift and you provide a gifted space for your people. Have the heart of a shepherd. Thanks so much for listening today. The book title, The Way of the Shepherd, is up there. You can see that. And look, if you would like any more information about this, please don't hesitate to send me an email and I'll give you the PowerPoint presentation and a more in-depth summary of this book for free, no obligations. All the best to you, always cheering you on. Take care.